She laughed, the kind of laugh that used to make me feel lucky, light, effortless, full of life. But tonight, it didn't sound like that. Tonight, it felt sharp, rehearsed. "Oh, this is my husband, Mark," she said, turning to the group with a dismissive flick of her hand. "Just my plus one." Just her plus one. The words hit harder than I expected. It was the pause before she said them, the half-second where I saw her decide not to call me what I actually was. Not her partner, not her best friend, not the man she'd spent 10 years building a life with. Just her plus one. An accessory. The laughter around us didn't stop, but I felt every sound drain from the room. The reunion buzzed with chatter and clinking glasses, old friends swapping stories, music humming low in the background. But I couldn't hear any of it. I just stood there, nodding like a fool, while my wife smoothed her dress and kept smiling like she hadn't just carved me open in front of a crowd. She turned back to the group, her hand resting lightly on the arm of a tall man I didn't recognize. "You remember Ethan, right?" she said to me. "We used to run the yearbook club together." Ethan smiled, confident and at ease. "Yeah, I remember," he said, shaking my hand. His grip was firm, a little too long. His eyes lingered on her. "Hard to believe it's been 15 years. "Feels like yesterday," she said, her voice soft, nostalgic. I felt something twist in my chest. She hadn't looked at me like that in years. For the next hour, I played my part. Smiled at the right moments. Sipped my drink too fast. Pretended not to notice the way she leaned in when he spoke, how their laughter overlapped just a little too easily. Every small touch between them burned like static in the air. Her hand brushed his arm. His eyes dropped to her lips when she spoke. I saw it all, each little betrayal hidden beneath the warmth of polite conversation. When she excused herself to get another drink, I followed her to the bar. "Having fun?" I asked. My voice sounded strained, even to me. She glanced over, a hint of annoyance crossing her face. "Don't start, Mark. It's a reunion. I'm catching up with old friends." "Old friends," I repeated. "That's one way to describe it." She rolled her eyes. "You're reading into things again. Can you try not to make tonight about you for once?" That stung. She turned back to the bartender before I could reply. Her tone wasn't angry, it was tired, like she'd already decided how the rest of this night would go. We left just before midnight. The car ride home was silent, the kind of silence that makes every sound, the turn signal, the tires on asphalt, feel unbearable. She stared out the window, scrolling through her phone. I kept my eyes on the road, pretending not to notice the faint smile she tried to hide. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom, slipping off her heels. I lingered in the doorway, watching her unzip her dress and hang it neatly in the closet. Everything she did was calm, deliberate, like nothing about tonight was unusual. "Who's Ethan?" I finally asked. She didn't turn around. "I told you. He's an old friend." And nothing, Mark." She sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Why do you always have to twist everything into a problem?" "Because I saw the way you looked at him." She met my eyes then, her expression flat. "You're imagining things. You always do." "Maybe," I said quietly. "Or maybe you've been imagining you're still in love with me." That made her flinch. Not much, but enough. She looked away. "I'm tired," she said. "Can we not do this right now?" I nodded. "Sure. Not right now." I left the room before she could see the tears welling up. Sleep didn't come easy. I lay awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling, trying to remember the last time we'd laughed together like she did with him. Maybe it wasn't one moment that broke us. Maybe it was all the little ones that came before, the unspoken resentments, the days that felt like repetition instead of life. Around 3 a.m., I heard her phone buzz on the kitchen counter. I shouldn't have looked. I knew that even before I reached for it. But the sound pulled me like gravity. The screen lit up. "Ethan." I froze. Another buzz. A new message. "Can't stop thinking about tonight." My pulse pounded in my ears. Then another message followed. "Wish you'd stayed longer. You looked beautiful." And then hers. Sent seconds later. You have no idea how hard it was to leave. The room spun. My throat tightened until I couldn't breathe. I stared at the words, waiting for them to rearrange into something that made sense. But they didn't. I set the phone down carefully, like it might shatter if I dropped it. My hands trembled as I walked back to the bedroom. She was asleep, curled up under the covers, peaceful and unguarded. I watched her for a long time, trying to find even a trace of the woman who once couldn't stand being apart from me. When the first light of dawn crept through the blinds, I started packing. Quietly, methodically. A few clothes, my wallet, the wedding photo from the nightstand, us smiling on a beach years ago, her arms around me. I looked at it one last time before placing it face down on the bed. I left the ring on the dresser. By the time she woke up, I was gone. I didn't leave a note. Words had already failed us. Hours later, as I sat in my car at a rest stop 2 towns over, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "Where are you?" I didn't answer. A few minutes passed. Then another message. "Mark, please. It was just a mistake. Nothing happened." My chest tightened. A mistake. That's what it always is in the beginning, a harmless text, a moment of nostalgia. Then it grows until it swallows everything in its path. The next message came while I was staring at the highway, unsure where to go next. "I love you. Come home." I typed and erased 3 different replies before finally settling on one. "You called me your +1 last night. But it turns out, I was never even that. You already had your main guest." I hit send and turned off the phone. As the morning sun rose higher, I started the car and drove away. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like an accessory in someone else's life. I was alone. But at least I wasn't pretending anymore.